So what is up, guys? Today set 17 was announced, and it is going to be the final set before Legion. And this final set has Dragruler, Rebirth, Glendios, and Monarch Alfred. So the first card revealed are the Revenger units. So without further ado, didn't want to make a 30-second video on just, oh good, a set got announced without actual cards. But now we can do a video that could be a minute or two or three that, you know, revolve around this. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk about Revengers. So Dragruler Phantom, limit break 1 turn. If your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less cards, CB1, retire 2 Revenger rear guards to get 10,000 power and deal 1 damage to your opponent. So that is interesting that he kept the effect, but keep in mind your opponent dealing 1 damage to your opponent still could pop. Now, obviously, there's a difference in the wording here. The wording being that TCG actually says apply a damage check, but this says deal 1 damage, so I guess we'll have to go by TCG logic for this card saying if you damage attack them and they get a heal trigger, it's like, really? But not bad. We'll see how that plays out with this effect. We'll have to see if you deal 1 damage to your opponent, that this 1 damage is going to be a trigger check for them, unless they just took out that TCG effect entirely, which I don't think they will, because if they did, then that is actually really busted, because then you're just swinging at an 11k Vanguard when they're at 4th damage. It's not good. And it's a cross ride on Phantom, and when this unit attacks, it gets 3,000 power until the end of battle. So 23k column, whether you boost it with a booster. But yeah, Dragruler Phantom kept his pretty much his normal effect. You see being 1, you're retiring 2 Revengers, and you're dealing 1 damage, pushing him to 5. Now, obviously, if this card is going to either... I think the damage check will be there. Your opponent will definitely be getting some trigger, like a 5,000. So, again, you're going to have a 16k column just to really, like, swing. You'll definitely need some units. You'll definitely need a Blast Dark Revenger to clean up the field. So when it's 5th damage, you can possibly get the 3rd attack in after getting that solid push. So that'd be practically 3 attacks on the Vanguard if you can clear up the board with the Blast Dark Revengers. So that's good to see. Dragruler, he kept his OG effect. I mean, it's not like his OG effect was bad, but we'll see how it plays out with the 4th or less. Obviously, this card just becomes a vanilla 13k when they're not at 4th damage, but he's there to push, and hopefully there is some more positive when it comes to the Dragruler Phantom's ability. We'll see how that goes, but I'm pretty sure if we're giving him 1 damage, there might be a trigger check for that opponent, but we'll see how that goes. Just like the TCG, anything can happen. So Revenger Desperate Dragon. So this is a card possibly just replacing Dire Mood at the end of the day. Let's read this effect. It's a limit break 4. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, you can CB1, get 5,000 power, and a critical. Alright. But the Vanguard effect that's at the bottom isn't bound by limit break. At the start of your main phase, retire a rear guard to retire one of your opponent's rear guards at random with a priority to the back row. So obviously everyone knew the priority to the back row was going to happen for, you know, Desperate Dragon. He's definitely a good Dire Mood replacement if you want to run it. But he's not bad at all, even if he was like still Vanguard. You play a unit and then you keep cleaning up your opponent's board every time. You can keep clearing their boosters. Pretty much keep killing whatever they keep playing. So you could make them throw their hand so they don't, you know, lose important pieces. But we'll see how that goes, because it says... Oh, actually, awkwardly enough, it says at the start of your main phase. So believe it or not, this effect isn't an option. It is automatic. So it's an automatic effect. That means you have no choice but to kill your boosters. And then Desperate Dragon just Desperate Dragon things. Okay. Interesting enough, that's going to be useful in a good amount of ways. I mean, you can keep clearing like boosters, intercepts. You can do a lot with this, actually. You're just cleaning your opponent's board like every now and then. Obviously, you don't want to eat your Doreens. Eating your Doreens is terrible. Another thing about Desperate Dragon is it is not bound by Revengers. His name is a Revenger, but it's not bound by the Revenger name tag. So you can sack anything you want. A Nemane, a this, a that. So you can do snack your goat if you drew all your G3s. So a reason to sack a booster you don't need anymore if you can replace it. So on and so forth. Obviously, when you're on Desperate Dragon, you are killing yourself. But not only kill yourself, you're killing your opponent. And say your opponent doesn't have a back row. Desperate Dragon cleans up an intercept at the very end of the day. Almost for free. Almost free. But you're killing yourself, so that's not free. But it's no CB to do it. So that's nice to see Desperate Dragon kind of get like a nice little effect here. I like it. It can be useful. Too bad it's an auto effect, but imagine if you didn't have units and the effect still goes off and you're able to retire your opponent's unit anyways without killing yourself. I mean, that'd be interesting. I doubt that's a thing. Anyways. So, Wily Revenger mana. When plays, call grade 1 or less Revenger from your deck to another rear guard circle in the same column. So, it's a Tar2, but without the use of a CB. So, obviously, the whole point of Wily Revenger mana is to pull off this effect with very easy setup. She calls any booster you want. You can even call Dark Trumpeter. Dark Trumpeter calls a G0. Again, that's more crap to sack. And you can definitely pull this play off very easily. This effect can be done very easily without wasting a lot of resources, which is great. Wily Lily is definitely good. Wily Revenger is actually really amazing for its worth. Being able to call a booster, even for that turn, is nice. I mean, the booster goes back to the deck. It is bound by the Revenger name tag, so don't get too fancy with those Swordbreaker cards. Unless they somehow rename those Swordbreaker cards to actual Revengers, and then it's really going to be stupid, but I don't think they'll do that because it wasn't called Revenger Swordbreaker, it was called Swordbreaker. So blast one, draw a card. But I don't think Wily Revenger is going to have that plussing, but Wily Revenger will have the plus of doing a Dark Call play, calling a G0, and then pretty much you just go from there. Yeah. Also, this could do it actually as a Vanguard effect, so if you had to ride this on accident and you didn't have a booster for your back, lo and behold, you're calling a booster almost for a turn to like swing at the Vanguard. But that booster will be going back later. But definitely Wily Revenger and the Dark Call Trumpeter will be a nice little combo tech you'll be able to pull off because Dark Trumpeter can always go back in the deck once he's done boosting. And I feel like every time you draw this, it's not like crappy. I mean, you can technically call a PG. You don't have to, but if you're out of options of no G1s in the deck anymore, it doesn't matter if you call the G1 PG anyways, you're going to be able to swing with a 14k column. What I like about this unit is it's going to be able to swing no matter what because it's a booster in the back, and that means you'll be able to swing. Like, hypothetically speaking, you'll be able to hit the cross ride number if you ate all your boosters with a Raging Foreign Dragon, for an example. Wily Revenger mana is going to be able to protect you and actually keep your plays strong at the end of the day. Again, very good against the cross ride matchup. Mana will be able to do those plays. Hitting 1400 or 1500, whatever booster gets called, you'll be able to still pull off a hit on your opponent. So that's what I like about Mana. I'm definitely running her for sure. I mean, that is just like free attack. That's just like a free attack at the end of the day. I mean, it's a guaranteed attack on something, so you know you're going to hit any high intercepts like Tracy, and any of those 12Ks or 11K shielders. You'll be able to do that with her with ease. She's not really alone. So back to this. So Desperate Dragon, again, is going to be very situational, but if you play your cards right and you eat right, you'll be able to pull off some solid combos. Obviously, I mean, I guess this is where like you're using your Dark Call Trumpeter and you're going to sack your G0 to sack an opponent's, an opponent's unit in the back, or if they don't have back units, dead. They just eat it. I hate that this is bound by a limit break, but also keep in mind in set 17 there are going to be self-damagers, so you will be able to turbo crit this if you want. It's going to depend. Because obviously you're clearing the front row with just one Vanguard and your field is already like 5 units, so once they lose just an intercept, they're down cards and you're up cards, so this card goes critical, guaranteed with just that CB1 and a boost with a 5k G0 possibly in the back. If you did Dark Call Trumpeter, you'll be able to swing with this. So again, Desperate Dragon actually has some desperate combos that can make everything look desperate for your opponent. So definitely a good Revenger backup ride in my opinion. Definitely has some mobility with mana. So I'm excited for that. Dragruler Phantom, I guess it didn't come out. He didn't really come out as a surprise to most people, I would hope, because obviously he was going to keep that effect. I mean, there's nothing really to change. I mean, that effect is just be fair game. I mean, 4th damage. It's not like you can do it multiple times. It's a 1-turn effect. Obviously, they didn't want you to spam it because it'd be very spammable with mana. That's why they had to limit it to 1 turn. Because if this was an infinite where you could just push him to 5 without even battling and you just use mana all the time, it's just really stuff like that. So there's that. Anyways, so with Revenger being revealed, there is a lot of good stuff coming so far. So far, for the first part of the reveal of this new set, we have got our first look into the Revengers, and it looks like they're starting off really strong here. And keep in mind, there is a Revenger that perma damages yourself to draw 2 cards, but they also get an 8k self-damager in this set as well. So keep that in mind. Are we going to be running that 5k Revenger that hits ourselves and then we draw 2 cards? It depends. It might help you, it might not. It's a good self-damager, I guess, if you pull off combos, so on and so forth. Card goes face down, draw 2 cards. There's going to be a lot of Revenger stuff. So obviously, if these are the only 2 triple rares, you can expect that other Revenger that acts like a net main that perma damages you to draw 2 cards will possibly be affecting. The only issue with that card, actually, in general, with the self hitting yourself with a perma damage, was the fact that that perma damage is actually going face down. It's not going face up unless Game Studios decides, all right, you can leave it face up so you can do your effects. But I think that'd be too busted if it was actually face up because you technically didn't waste a CB to draw 2 cards. So there has to be a minus for the plus. So that's why they're doing that. But yes, Revenge are looking strong, guys. Oh my god, I have a great fear on Glendios being actually really stupid if it comes down to what we just saw with mana here. All right, here's hoping. All right, guys, y'all be good. Y'all stay safe. I'll see you all another time. Peace. I hope you enjoyed our little discussion today.